The moon hung high over Altheria's palace, its silvery light catching on the gleaming armor of the royal guards stationed along the battlements. Beneath their helms, their eyes were cold, scanning the night for even the slightest disturbance. In the shadow of a merchant's cart, 5 figures watched the guards. "They're just statues," Riel whispered, adjusting the hood of his tattered cloak. "We'll be in and out before they notice." "Bold words," Leah muttered, her emerald cloak shimmering faintly. "If you're wrong, this isn't just failure, it's execution. Do you want the truth about your family's fall or not?" Ryle snapped. Leah fell silent. Behind them, Harkin, their muscle, gripped his warhammer. "Enough talking. If we're doing this, let's move." Ryle nodded. "Stick to the plan. No heroics." As they crept toward the palace walls, the group remained unaware of the faint shimmer above the battlements. The air rippled as if alive, silently warning the guards of intruders. Ryle's team slipped through the garden, using a hidden entrance Leah had acquired from an informant. Inside, the halls were eerily quiet, the faint glow of enchanted lanterns illuminating the way. "Too quiet," muttered Kren, the group's lockpick. "It's a palace," Ryle replied, his voice steady. "Quiet's good. Stay sharp." But the silence was not empty. The guards were watching, unseen. As the thieves neared the throne room, the air grew heavier. Rill couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. "Keep moving," he ordered, forcing his unease aside. The group entered the chamber where the Stone of Kings was held, a grand, circular room with walls of polished obsidian. At its center stood a pedestal, the jewel glowing faintly atop it. "There it is," Harkin breathed. Leah stepped forward, her hand trembling as she reached for the stone. But as her fingers grazed its surface, a deafening clang echoed through the chamber. The doors slammed shut. The sound of boots echoed through the corridors as the royal guards descended. "You triggered an alarm," Kren hissed. "No," Leah whispered, staring at the stone. "It did." The jewel's glow intensified, casting eerie shadows across the room. The walls seemed to shift, ancient runes appearing and disappearing as if alive. "Move," Ryle barked, pulling Leah back. "We'll regroup." Before he could finish, the first guard stepped into view. Clad in black armor that seemed to absorb the light, the figure moved like a wraith. A sword gleamed in one hand, in the other a chain coiled like a serpent. "No fool shall pass," the guard intoned, his voice cold and unyielding. "No mercy shall be shown." Ryle drew his blade. "Go!" The thieves scattered, splitting into 2 groups as the guards pursued them through the labyrinthine palace. In the west wing, Rill and Leah ducked into a narrow passage, their breaths ragged. "This wasn't supposed to happen," Leah said, her voice shaking. "Plans change," Rill replied, A shadow loomed behind them. Without warning, a guard lunged, his sword slicing through the air. Rill parried, the force of the blow driving him back. "Run!" he shouted to Leah. But Leah stood her ground, drawing her dagger. "Not without you." Together they fought, narrowly escaping when Leah plunged her blade into the guard's arm. As the figure stumbled, they fled deeper into the palace. In the east wing, Harkin and Kren faced their own battle. "You knew," Harkin growled as they ran. "You knew the guards weren't normal." Kren hesitated. "I had suspicions." "You lied." Before Kren could respond, a spear grazed his shoulder. 2 guards emerged, their movements unnaturally fluid. Harkin roared, swinging his warhammer with brutal force. The clash of steel against steel filled the corridor as the guards pressed forward. Kren used the distraction to slip away, guilt etched on his face. Meanwhile, Ryle and Leah found themselves back in the throne room, drawn by the stone's eerie glow. "It's cursed," Leah murmured. "That's why the guards are like this." Riel nodded, his expression grim. "And it's why they'll stop at nothing to protect it." As they debated their next move, the stone began to hum, its light pulsating. Visions flashed through their minds, wars, betrayals, and a throne bathed in blood. "It's a trap," Ryle realized. "The stone doesn't grant wisdom, it consumes those who seek it." But before they could act, the guards closed in. The final battle unfolded in the throne room. The guards fought with terrifying precision, their movements almost inhuman. Riel, Leah, and Harkin fought desperately, using every trick and weapon at their disposal. As the tide turned against them, Leah grabbed the stone. Its power surged through her, forcing the guards to halt. "I understand now," she said, her voice trembling. "It's not about wisdom, it's about sacrifice." With a cry, she hurled the stone to the ground, shattering it. As the stone shattered, the guards collapsed, their armor crumbling to dust. The palace fell silent. Riel approached Leah, who knelt amid the fragments, tears streaming down her face. "It's over," he said softly. But Leah shook her head. "No, it's just beginning, the legacy of the stone." In the weeks that followed, the kingdom reeled from the revelation of the stone's curse. The royal family's secrets were exposed, and the people demanded change. Leah, Riel, and Harkon went their separate ways, their bond forged in blood and fire. But the memory of the Stone of Kings lingered, a reminder of the cost of power and the price of loyalty.